There we go. There we go. So we are live on Facebook. Once again, hey, everybody. Y'all know what time it is. It is 3:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we are live once again for the finale of the three-part series, Book to Film. And I know a lot of people are interested in turning their books into films because they have such an amazing story, and we wanted to give you the information that you need. So once again, I have my phenomenal guest. He's a movie director, he's a producer, he has worked his way up from acting, and Mr. Richard Striebel. How you doing again, brother?
I'm good. How you doing?
Oh man, another beautiful day. Well, depends on what part of Texas you're in, because we getting rain, and it's going from 90, 99, 100 to I don't know, like
to
crazy rain. Yeah. but you're from Texas, so you know how that goes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So for all the people who are just jumping in, do me a favor and let's go ahead and introduce you once again to the people, so that they can actually get a chance to know who you are once again. If you can walk them through your ranks.
I'm Richard Striebel. I'm an actor and also a director and a producer. I've worked with people such as Robert Rodriguez, Al Reinhardt, so many other different directors and producers, and I've had the opportunity to work on production and on many different levels. That allowed me to learn a lot about the industry and about how the actual business works. And I'm grateful to be here to help each other out. And me giving you my knowledge also helps me meet people that are interested in doing the things that I like to do, which is creating movies. And we're hoping to, be able to work hand in hand in this way.
There you go. So I know that there are a lot of people out there, and when they hear that you can actually turn a book into a film, for a new writer, a new author, it may be a little bit intimidating. And that's why we wanted to come together. I remember we talked a while back about doing this when you came to the youth program that I was doing, the Claim Your Destiny youth program. And it's all about leaving that legacy. So I guess,
which, by the way, I want to commend you on that. That was a really cool program. You did a lot of what we were trying to do in the inner city with a lot of the schools as well, with Lupe Arte and the nonprofit program that we had, doing after school classes in the arts and the film and all kinds of stuff like that. So seeing that you had something similar, very different, but similar, and that you were working with the youth really hit me hard, and I've been really grateful to have been invited to that and gone to a couple of your schools and spoken to them on I think 2 or 3 occasions. That was a really good good time, and it seemed like a lot of the students got a lot from it.
Yeah, it's definitely needed, because I remember for most of us growing up, we were told certain things, go to school, get a good job. And it's like the things that you really want to do, having those programs that actually show how to get more, how to get involved in these different things. That's so important. Exposure is everything. Like, exposure is everything. But so let's talk about it. So we touched on a few things already. We touched on casting, we've touched on production, we touched on scripts, and I know the people are still interested, like, how much does the average film go? Because I think today we're going to talk a little bit more about funding, and then just kind kind of give a quick summary of everything that we've already touched on, and then bring it right back to the end. So
Can you
on
give me
average,
1 second real quick?
Go ahead. Man, that chair looks way more comfortable than the one I'm in.
I don't know, my light just went lower for some reason. I don't know. Anyways.
That happens. That happens. It's all about ad-libbing.
Well, first and foremost, kind of recapping on episode 2, locations. They are very important. And I don't ever say do not write you write what you want to write, and then later on you can scale it back down or figure it out. Because if you write to just try to make certain things happen, you're cutting yourself short. But mind you, before we step into financing and that kind of deal, when you do write, if you do know that you have certain locations available to you, or that you can get these locations, at a low cost, then you do that. You adapt your script, your book, your script. You cut certain things out to allow you to make certain things happen, to be more reasonable to yourself and your budget. Now, once again, when it comes to budgeting, you want to break everything down like a business plan. Okay. And if you join us later on and follow us through this whole adventure, you'll know all of these things in detail. You'll have the pieces of paper, the documents that will tell you what to do, how to break it down, and all of that stuff. But you have to have these things in order. And like I said before, it is a business plan. You do want to look at all your expenses and what you're doing and how you're getting it done. Now, through that being said, there's many different ways to get financing. It's not easy by any means. Don't let anybody tell you that it's easy, just go get it. But it can be, right? And the thing is that, you could always have a family friend, an investor, somebody that has capital that they're willing to invest. Most of your movies out there, the reason people don't like to invest is because they feel like it's a bad business deal, which in the process of making your own films, it probably will be, because you don't have the audience and you don't have Vin Diesel or Tom Cruise on your movie. Now, with that being said, you might have written a book that Hollywood or somebody else in the industry per se would love to make this movie. The powers that be, know that it's something that needs to be out there. And then you might have funding in the millions and millions of dollars. That's the difference in writing a book, because when you wrote a book and you sold it and people are out there, and let's say it's the bestseller or something, well, then you already have a following. So you have that main actor. You are the main actor in that sense, because as a writer, you're now creating a name for yourself and people are following your work already. So that's a good way to actually, once the success of your book has done something, then it'll allow, you to get this financing a lot easier, or come naturally because of the success of the book. With that being said, there's other platforms, like GoFundMe, and, there's several different ones. I don't have to name them all, but they're out there. And crowdfunding is what they're called. And basically, you're going to be able to ask your friends and family and, everybody and anybody to donate. And the cool thing is they could donate $5, $10, whatever, because, it all adds up in the long run. And there's some incentives you could put in there, which is really cool. Like, I'm going to give you a poster to the movie, or you get to come to the premiere, in our local hometown, or whatever it may be. But, maybe you're giving these people producer credit because they, you have categories, and they invested way more money than the $10. Maybe they invested 10 grand. So now they're a producer in your film, or, an associate producer, whatever it may be. And, there's some people that really would like, that have the money, no education in this field, but would like to be a part of it, or, a husband or a wife to somebody that wrote a book and wants to see the book, become a film, whatever it may be. But having that kind of compassion, always helps, with that being said, there's also different places like in Texas, for example, there's the Texas Film Commission.
Okay.
And you can go sign up with the Texas Film Commission, and the Texas Film Commission will put you in their list of things that, particular categories that there might be some grants for. And in most times, not like right now, I'm assuming funding is really low due to the corona and all that stuff. But typically you have, state associations, like the Texas Film Commission, San Antonio has their own personal, it's one of the few cities that has its own city funded, film industry, type of a group. And
yeah,
which San Antonio is a huge, leader in that, for doing something like that. But, and this is a way that you could find some of this stuff, some of this financing to make it work for you. The other thing is that there's other countries or other provinces, states like Puerto Rico, for example, or, Honduras, or, different places, Guatemala, whatever it may be, that they'll give you incentives for coming. Like if you come and shoot your movie there, they might give you like 40-50% of your budget back.
Yeah,
like literally you're showing up with half of what you budgeted because they're going to pay for the other half, and that kind of, because when you go there, you're creating jobs for people around there, you're using their hotels, you're, so on and so forth. So
you bring in revenue, so they're gonna incentivize you bringing that revenue to their area, which makes a lot of sense.
That also applies for different states. Like in the United States, New Mexico, for example, right now Atlanta, North Carolina, Louisiana, a lot of those places, unfortunately, some of the places that were hit by horrible, disasters, like for example, Katrina hitting New Orleans, was a reason why a lot of the stuff got spun into opportunities to get employment back into their cities and states that had been destroyed or dysfunctional due to weather or whatever it may be. And so, some of these places also have like been kind of, well, Texas has this incentive, so we are right next to them. Let's put our incentive higher so people can come to our state.
Mm-hmm.
And it happens, Albuquerque, New Mexico is one of those great examples that they saw what was happening in New Orleans. And so they're on the other side of Texas. So they figured, let's do it here
as well. Yeah.
And they got a big community that's really, really over the years, over at least 10 years now, has actually built. And there's a lot of movies, and TV shows being shot in that area, With that being said as well, I said North Carolina, Atlanta is one of the hottest spots right now to go shoot, but there's just different locations, different places. And, you just want to invest at, Canada has great incentives to go shoot at, and, so you got to keep some of those things in mind when it comes to financing.
Okay.
With all of that being said, when you're producing something and you're a producer in this role, and if it's kind of like a musician to me, I look at it like, okay, if you wrote this and you created a book and then you went as far as writing, after the book, you wrote the screenplay, you own all of this.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need somebody else to come in and take your shine or do any of that. What you need to do is hold your ground and have a good lawyer, entertainment lawyer, set up, what percentages come to any investor or any other producers that bring investors to your platform, and stay strong, because you need to be, one of the executive producers or the, lead producer, whatever. But also know that if you've never been in the film industry and you don't know the business, and you don't be trying to do too much, because you're going to put yourself in a bad situation where you can lose all your rights.
You'll make a bad name for yourself. Really,
you make a bad name and you'll lose all your rights, and nobody wants to work with you, and so on and so forth.
That makes sense. Man, you touched on a really good point because one of the things that we stress is, well, there's a few key points that you touched on. One is when you know your audience, as far as if you've already built an audience up, then you're going to have supporters, right? And there's a few ways to build that audience for your books, which translates over to film, but you obviously have to have more of a more of a following for that film to become a reality. And then you mentioned that here's the biggest thing that most people fail to realize. Whatever project you do, it has the potential to employ others, which is why you said like Puerto Rico or Louisiana or Canada or New Mexico. They have these incentives in place to bring people to bring people in to actually do the production because they realize this is actually helping the economy by becoming by taking your book and turning it into a film. You're actually creating jobs, you're creating roles, you're helping to feed families, and you're actually building a legacy for yourself, right? um
Absolutely. In that
so
local environment, you're going to have all your employees that are there to do, you know, the work for the production, you know, like the, you know, from the PAs up to the gaffers and grips and, you know, DPs and all of that. You're creating all those jobs and you're hiring them locally so that you're paying the people that live there that are professionals to help you accomplish what you're doing, at a reasonable rate, but allowing them to get a job. And mind you, all the crew has to eat.
mhm.
In a SAG, we touched on SAG, you know, before
Screen Actors
on
Guild,
episode
yeah.
2. But when you're in a SAG production, you know, you have to give them 2 meals, no matter
Yeah.
what. So you have to provide what would be considered breakfast and lunch. Now, dinner, if depending on how long your production goes for the day, then they call that third meal. And if you don't get that third meal, or you don't stop working by a certain time, you know, time frame that they have, you're going to get penalized, and that's going to come out of your budget. You're going to have to pay for breaking the rules. So there's
Yes.
things that you have to know, you know, that you have to be aware of. But at the same time, you're creating jobs. You're getting you're also, you know, feeding the community per se, you know. And
Is
that's why
it?
it's important too, that is, as filmmakers, just like any other thing that you might do, like for example, me, I enjoy playing disc golf. So when I go out to these courses, I don't litter, I don't
Mhm.
throw, you know, jump people's fences to get my disc out of their yard, you know, I don't throw when there's kids and families around, you know, like we communicate and we pick up and we, you know, pack in, pack out on purpose, so that we're helping our environment, but at the same time, we are keeping a good name for our sport.
Within
Same
the
thing with
community,
filmmaking,
yeah.
because we don't want to come in like we're just the grand Hollywood stars that are running this thing, opening this, you know, doing this production in your town, and not have consideration for the locals and the things that they need to do and what goes on in their lives around them.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that gets forgotten, but something I wanted to mention.
No, that's perfect, man. Because so if you have to feed people, if you have to pay people, we talked about the crowdfunding. So what about, or is it possible as a filmmaker to go out and get sponsorships by whether it be large corporations or local corporations funding, you know, sponsorships for that particular film? Is that something that would be
Yes,
helpful?
there's 2 ways of doing that.
Okay.
And if you take it one way, it's very risky and could work against you. And the other thing is, just to straight up, you know, sending a message via email, whatever, you know, letterhead to a particular company and letting them know that you're interested in using their product in your film, and they would get free advertising. It's got this actor, whatever it may be, to help them incentivize. And you know, you'd be surprised. There's some people out there that would look at it as like free advertisement, a free commercial. You know,
Yeah.
some people will,
Like for like. Yeah.
yeah, they'll either send you the products and allow you to use them and give you feed your crew with them or whatever it may be. Or they might pay you, you know, as part of a sponsorship with the fact of putting their product in there. I mean, Adam Sandler was a good one that did, you know, I don't know if you remember some of his movies, but like Happy Gilmore.
Adam Sandler movies.
Yeah, like Happy Gilmore and you know, all these other different movies. Like he'll have like a McDonald's scene or a Subway scene, and those were all partners in his films to make those movies. You know, like that's how he got some of the funding to you know, to do those movies. And so yes, it is very possible, but you do need to, like, don't expect it to happen
overnight.
You need to put in the time to be building those relationships and try to establish that as well.
Yeah, that's huge, man. When you talk about mentioning names in films or having products, I think about all the, you know, when we were growing up, the big thing for athletes to say was, what are you doing now that you've won the Super Bowl or you've won the NBA championship? I'm going to Disney World. Because they would get that sponsorship from them. So this is some really good information, and I know that there's a lot more detail to what we're going to cover for the people who are interested in turning their books into film. Some people haven't even wrote a book yet. So obviously that's my specialty, is helping people to understand how to get their thoughts and take them from a thought and turn it into a book. And then your specialty, obviously with 20 years of experience in the film industry, is helping people to go from the idea of a script into that script being turned into getting it produced, finding the right actors, making sure that, and if you can't necessarily find the high level talent, but still finding talent that's available based on the budget, putting the entire budget together, because it is, like you said, it is a business. So there is a business plan that's needed to go along with turning your book into a film. And then the last thing, well, not the last thing, but one of the last things is location and like you said, production, knowing how to get the right angles and knowing how to get the right casting directors, knowing how to get all that. And then the legal aspects of it, because for somebody who's watching and may say, oh, I can do that. That sounds easy. There's a lot more detail that goes into it, right? So
you're pretty much, if you tune into our workshop and decide to, you know, to get the details from us, you're basically going to go through Film School 101, and it's going to be or 101 A and B. You're going to go through very complex, you know, detailed from all the categories we spoke. It's going to be broken down deeper. It's going to tell you why you should use casting directors, why you should not if you don't have the money, how you would go around that, what you would do. Because see, this is the thing. We do have a structure here, you know, and the structure is, you know, somebody writes a story, then, you know, gives breakdowns is what they're called, that describes the characters that they're looking for. And in those breakdowns, they send them to casting directors. Casting directors put them out on different mediums like Actors Access and, you know, casting networks and different things of that nature that we all use on the professional level. And then our agents get to see, you know, what jobs are available for us to audition for as actors. And so there's a process there, you know, and then you have to do these things. Now, mind you, you might not have the money in some instances, you know, the financing to do all of these steps, but you can do some of these steps yourself by utilizing certain things that I'll leave, you know, key factors for you to get to that will help you. And that's how we'll discuss a lot of this stuff in further detail. We'll take you down the rabbit hole, you know, so that you know a little bit more. When it comes to casting, it's really, really important. And one of the things that we've talked about all these different things. We've talked about casting. We've talked about agents, managers. We've talked about turning the book, first of all, from the book version to a script. We've talked about financing. We've talked about production. We still need to go into finding the proper director, finding the proper DP. And then one of the other things that we have not talked about at all is music. If you do not add the right music or compose the right music or get the right composer for your film, you can really, really make or break your film. Not only in the music tense of like the sound and whatever's playing in the background, the emotion, the feel that song might bring you, but also being able to hear the person, and the sound being clear and good.
Having the right microphones,
the right microphones, the right sound people, because if you don't have that, that also ruins your movie. Your pictures and everything could look amazing. Your actors could be doing great, but if people aren't hearing the music or the sound, you're done. It's game over. All that work you put into it, it went down the drain. And believe me, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I've actually watched some movies that were some great movies, and one scene is so low that you have to turn the TV way up, and then the next scene is like this concert where the music is just blaring. It's like, wait, whoa, that was a little bit too much. Or you have a scene where you have to kind of do this just to hear them, and it ruins that production. Or the wrong song at the right time can be so detrimental, because if you put something that doesn't, if it's supposed to be this tear-jerking scene, and you got something that's upbeat and happy in the background, and it's like people are like, oh my God, that was such a touchy. Wait a minute, I'm confused now. Why do I feel like laughing and smiling when he just put his hands up in the air in this moment? So yeah, music is definitely crucial. And like you said, we'll touch on all these things, because every aspect of turning your book into a film for people, and it's nowadays more and more people are wanting to get out there and wanting to have their books turned into movies, because maybe they went through something major in their lives and it's something that can truly impact others. Or maybe it's just like you're doing the comedy, and we mentioned this last time, the comedy series that you are doing with Boaz. So
well, and this is the thing is like that, for example, that particular production, and it was we didn't have any financing. It was whatever me and JT can JT Campos could come up with and be resourceful. And luckily we had sound and camera, because my mentor was a part of it, and he was the DP, and he has that equipment, which it took years and years of learning and working under him to have the trust, even though he shot it, but to even have the trust, to say, I'm going to take my day off to go shoot a free film for you, type of thing. But
network.
Right. Network, it took a long time in post-production, which means after the fact, in your editing process, and finishing up the film, the second part of making your movie. That part in its, or technically the third part, because pre-production, production, and post-production. And so anyways, it took a long time to find the right people and the right songs, even though I knew a lot of musicians and a lot of people that were willing to donate their songs to the project. It took a while for me to find the right songs. And I would have, obviously I would have used other songs like, Tupac or Snoop or something else if I had the financing.
Classics.
And it would have made it, I guarantee you, because we have a cut version with songs that we wanted, and it makes it even better. and if you're trying to set almost a time frame, it makes you feel like you were there,
Yeah.
so it's important, that you take that into account. But, I know that it took me at least 6 months or more just to have music for my particular project. So and it's hard to just give it away and let somebody do something when you're not part of it.
Yeah, because
It's your
then it's
child.
not
You're
it's not your
raising it.
vision.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not your vision. You kind of giving it an orphan birth, so to speak.
Right.
Um, yeah. So let's what I want to do is let's go over the offer, because we've talked about it. For those of you who have actually tuned in to all three parts of it, we hope that this has been helpful. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. And when I say the tip of the iceberg, we're talking hours and hours of behind the scenes work that we put into putting something together for those of you who are serious. And I stress that word serious about turning your book into a film, or you haven't even written your first book, but you're ready to learn how it all flows together, so that you can get that book out there, you can get that film out there, even if it just starts small and you continue to allow it to grow, and you start building your reputation in the industry as well, because both of us here um, have put in years of work behind the scenes. This isn't just something that I didn't just call Richard and say, bro, we gotta start talking about this. He's put in 20 years of experience, since since he had a since he couldn't grow real facial hair. I remember those days. And when I kind of had the Houston Southside fade back in the day, we've been putting in work behind the scenes for years to make sure that the information that we have is appropriate, but it's next level, so that you can take it and take your project to the next level the right way, and not run into some of the trips and obstacles that we've ran into
Absolutely.
along the way for getting here. Because I promise you, it may look easy on the outside, but the one thing that separates those who actually get it done from those who talk about it is the amount of work that you're willing to put in, and the investment that you're willing to put in. Um,
I
so
wanted to mention something, if you don't mind me interrupting.
go ahead.
Um, our package that we're offering you guys is, first of all, we both wanted to make sure that it was going to be affordable to everyone, because I
Very
want
affordable.
this is made and done for the purpose of the inner city, the country folk that don't have much. This is not, if you have a lot of money and you have, ways of getting things done, God bless you, and I wish you the best. And more than likely you're in college for this and you're doing other things, and that's great.
Mhm.
That's that. Not all of us have that ability, not all of us have that path, and we want to be those that type of incubator for you, that type of facility for you, where you can, in your process, reach out to both of us and get things done and push it forward, but have this box, this thing that allows you to learn all of these things in a much more affordable place and a much more comfortable place.
There you go.
Because you things are changing, okay?
Mhm.
And if you want to go to Full Sail, nothing against anybody's programs or anything, I'm just saying, you want to go to Full Sail or some other place and learn filmmaking and spend 30, 40,000 or 100,000 or whatever it is, and you can do that, go do it. That's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They're going to have all the equipment. You're going to be able to learn a lot. There's going to be peers. You're going to be doing projects. I'm not downplaying that. All we're trying to do is give you the ability to learn this stuff in a much more inexpensive
Easily.
way, with people that have done it the hard way, to learn a lot and to get where we're at, but have also given back to our communities. And we're trying to do the same right now.
There you
So
go.
yes, we all have to make a living. We all have to ask for what we're worth. We need to ask something, to give you this knowledge. And you could YouTube everything that you want, and you're going to get all different types of, mix match things, and potentially you're smart enough to get it done. And I believe in you. But we're trying to, take away from wasting your time, your efforts, and consolidate these things, plus also kind of give you mentors that you can communicate with, and you're not just shut off to the world, and this is in my case, this is from acting to producing, directing, and so on and so forth. I've been in the camera field for a long time. I don't like to consider myself a DP or a sound guy, because there's professionals, right? There's guys that devote their whole lives to these things. I'm not saying I haven't. I'm not saying that I can't compete with any of them. I'm just saying I don't like to consider myself that, because there's DPs out there that I have the utmost respect for, and I could not put my name in the ring with them.
There you go.
So with that being said, you're getting a person that knows lighting, sound, camera, all those different aspects.
Yeah.
And I'm also coming originally from theater, and then, through acting in general, so I know how it feels to be in front of the camera, behind the camera. And, the mentors that I've had, like Robert Rodriguez and, other people in that sense, they've allowed me to learn a lot of different things, green screen, all the behind the scenes. I've worked on so many reality shows. So, it's just a way that right now our technology is allowing us to do a lot of this stuff on our own with smaller budgets, with not so big crews. With the coronavirus, they're telling us to wear masks and follow all these rules to be able to do a production and reduce the footstep of the workflow with the amount of people that are working there in our projects. So this all comes at a good time for you now you have time, sop up this information, take all your notes. You'll be able to come back to it, as many times as you want, and listen to it over and over, and see where you get these particular forms from, and all the different things that may come with it, and and the links that will provide for you to be able to continue to study. And that's just kind of what we're trying to do here. So you want to support us so that we can support you. Once again, it's a win-win situation for all of us. I would hope to meet some amazing writers and people that have some amazing stories, and together we can make some productions happen. I would also like to just give you knowledge and work with you, and you do your own thing, and I stand behind and applaud you for whatever you do. You know what I mean? This is not a competition. It's not a way to exploit you in any way. It's just pure trying to give somebody that's interested the knowledge that they need.
Yeah, definitely coming from a place of wanting to see others succeed. I heard it put best this way. It said, I don't want to be the next fill in the blank. I want to be the person that inspires, motivates, and educates the next such and such. Because if we can do that, then we build the bridges that break those chains in our communities to go on and do much greater things, and kind of flattens that curve, and gets rid of that economic gap, as well as gets rid of that knowledge gap that we've been lacking for so long.
I'd like to bring up the point that real quick before we end this, is that there is a lot of false stuff out there. There's a lot of fake news, like it's been said, and a lot of fake people, honestly, that will tell you, oh, this is a great idea, turn around and steal your idea, turn around and manipulate your situation and all of that stuff. Listen, those are the things that we're trying to help you avoid. Like get you to know the little things that will pull up those red flags, so that you'll be like, oh, that's what he was talking about. This guy's a chump. I'm moving on. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Whatever it may be. And so if you're willing to listen and pay attention to the words that we're saying, then you'll get that. You'll get that kind of information that'll, like you were saying, lead you to success, not failure, even though that we all need to fail in order to succeed, you know.
But a
It's
wise
very important.
man, they say a fool learns from his own mistakes. Not calling either one of us fools, but we've learned from our own mistakes. But a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. So
Absolutely.
we are trying to help you shorten that curve so that you don't have so many gray hairs and uh and such a hard skull by the time you are our age or over the next few years. Trust me, all these grays and 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 physical change was earned. It wasn't borrowed on a yeah. So with that being said, I mean the package that we're offering is worth well over thousands of dollars. Just the information alone. Like you said, people going to film school are going to pay 30,000 to 100,000, depending on where they go. Um, we don't want you to sit back and say, man, you know what? I'm gonna have to miss rent for the next year in order to pay, or I'm gonna have to miss paying my mortgage for the next year in order to get this done. Um, we're not even saying that you got to miss it for a month, because when he said affordable, let me tell you, I wish I said this is definitely worth each topic alone is worth at least $100+ and he was like, yeah, but you got to think about not everybody that wants to do this can afford that, especially in these times. And we understand that the times are different. The times are definitely interesting, to say the least. So the overall package, in order to learn the production, in order to learn how to create your book, your script, how to get the right production, the production team, the casting, understanding location, understanding the legal aspects behind all of this, and most importantly, understanding how to find the funding. We're doing all of this together for just, you want to say it or you want me to say it?
I'd rather not say it so they could just come to you and find out when if they're interested,
Okay.
email you, and then that way they could find out, because I want them to be shocked. I'd rather not say anything on the air, because I'd rather you take the next step to find out for yourself, because
Okay.
that means, to me, that means you really, really are interested.
They're
And I'm
serious.
telling
Yeah.
you myself, it's affordable. And this is coming from somebody that grew up with nothing. You know what I mean? So I'm telling you.
Can I?
So if you're interested, check it out. He'll give you all the information. I'd rather not be putting things out on the air like that, because I don't want anybody to feel anything unless they make that a next initial
They make
step.
that a priority. Can I say that it is? Can I compare it to shoes at least?
No, don't compare it to anything.
I,
But guess
he
what?
does,
Guess
he
what?
doesn't want to let the cat out the bag, but I'll say that you would still have money to go in and get your kids school clothes for the year, um, after making the investment. I'll put it that way, and you probably will.
How about I put it this way?
Go ahead.
The 1 or 2 weekends that you go out and you party, it's less than that. How about that?
Yep.
So sometimes you need a good time, but
Party.
sometimes
Wait, partying as an adult or as a kid? Because I remember partying as a kid. We might have spent $10.
no. I mean,
Nah, but listen, for those of you who are seriously interested in taking your book and turning it into a script that can eventually become a film and learning the basics behind it, we do have a full course that we are rolling out in 2 weeks. And we're rolling it out one night a week. It will be a full course overview. It's at least 4 weeks of training. But each week we'll have specific information that you can walk away with and you can actually implement and take your book and turn it into a film. But as we've stressed many times throughout, it is not something that is going to be easy, but it will be worth it if you are willing to put in the work.
And I'm
So
willing to throw in for any of the first 20 people that sign up,
mhm,
I'm willing to throw in an extra uh, an extra day, or basically what would be an extra week. So if we have a 4-week plan for you to follow, we can do that. Give you that extra week that will give you a little bit more bonus stuff on the back
4 week
end,
of mentoring. Yeah.
with the legal stuff, and with more on particular locations and all that. So first 20 people will get that from our end, an extra week. If we get 50 or more people, we'll give you 2 extra weeks.
There we go. So that's a lot of content, a lot of information that people are going to be receiving. What I want everybody to do, if you are interested, go ahead and leave a comment. Interested in the notes on the live stream video. If you're watching the replay, you can still leave that comment. Interested. We will follow up with everybody individually, because we want to make sure that we will do a discovery call with you all to make sure that this is something that you are serious about and that is going to be beneficial to you, and it's not something that is wasting your time or ours. We want to make sure that we can help you get you where you want to be, but we also want to make sure that you are going to put in the work, because it doesn't make sense to have the knowledge without applying it. Knowledge without application is still failure, because no matter how many times you multiply a number by 0, you still get 0. So with that being said, we have a lot of time.
And I'm sorry, and realize that what we've been doing the last 3 weeks, none of us are getting paid for that. We're doing that because we want you to know that there's an avenue for you, and that's why we've been doing it. Plus, I had a lot of people reach out to me about certain things, and I decided, we've been talking about this for a long time. Let's go ahead and get it out there and push it. So together, we've joined our forces to make this happen for you guys that have asked for it. So if you're interested, once again, please reach out and say you're interested. Drop a line, let us know. Best way to get a hold of you. We know that we can get a hold of you through there as well on Facebook. So any which way, we'd love to hear from you. Thank you guys so much.
Absolutely. So once again, leave that comment interested on the live stream. I see so far Deuce has left the comment interested. I know at least 2 or 3 other people who have reached out to me individually. And over the next 2 weeks, we're going to fill this class up with quality candidates who are interested in taking their books and turning it into a film.
First 20 get an extra week. First 20 get an extra week. If we hit 50, the whole group gets an extra 2 weeks, which means that we go back and cover everything, fine comb it, and have live questionnaires back and forth with anything that you have, so we can get it done at that moment for you. You don't have to wait. In this process too, once you've purchased it, you'll be able to have it later on and go back to it and use it again and again, for your own purposes. This will be your private session.
Exactly. So we're leaving that open for you all. And as promised, every Book Talk Live, one of the things that I like to do is a giveaway, cash giveaway. And that is a $25 Cash App giveaway. So for those of you who are still on with this, the first person that comments cash will actually receive that $25 Cash App giveaway. And it is 3:51 here. By 4 o'clock, you could be $25 up in your bank account. So for those who are interested, we're just waiting on that, man. While I'm waiting on while we're waiting on hey man, you've been a participant. I don't know if I can do that. They would probably try to beat me up and say, nah, what is he doing? He gave 25 to the guy that what he was talking to. Okay, looks like Amen Bolden out of California actually typed in cash. So there will be a $25 Cash App giveaway to Ame for
Nice.
yeah. So brother, I definitely want to thank you for being on for these past 3 weeks, because we've talked a lot of information about turning books into a script that becomes a film, and there's a lot of content. So I know hopefully people aren't just taking that information and thinking that this tip of the iceberg is everything, because I know the passion that you have for not only for film but also for helping people, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving of your heart. Is there any last thing you want to say to the people who are watching with us?
Um, I do want to leave you a little food for thought. As in, for what we're also going to be doing moving forward, I'm going to have you take care of the Austin area since you're still back over there. Um, but what I want to do is have people in Los Angeles and people in Texas knowing that my company and your company will be doing reels for actors, to where some of these writers want to flesh out some of their scenes, and actors need some scene work for their reels.
There you go.
And so together, we'll put each other together in both Texas and in Los Angeles, and we'll film them, and there'll be, small fees for each party, whatever, and we'll work together so that we'll help each other out. And that way we'll help the filmmakers and the writers flush out some of their scenes. We'll let directors direct some of the scenes. We'll let actors obviously act in it, and they'll be able to take that footage and use it for their acting reel. And these are some of the things that in the future we're going to start offering. We have them right now, but what I'm saying is, moving forward through this process, you'll see more and more of that publication saying that we're able to do these things for you. Like I have a Sweet Mesquite Productions reels on Instagram. It's my production company, but I put reels at the end so that you know that we can do reels for you. And these kind of small production stuff that will help everybody in the long run get and achieve what you need to do. So just look at us. As for other things in the future, ask questions, because more than likely we're doing it and we have somebody that can help you do it.
Exactly. And listen, man, hey, thank you once again, brother. Love you. And as always, I'm looking forward to what the future has for us as we continue working together on these projects, man.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the platform. I'm so happy to see you go from having an idea to actually publishing your book, publishing several different things, getting a lot of people involved, working with your community, and now having this platform. I'm here to support anything that I can. And I'm really grateful to be your friend, brother. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. All right. Talk to you soon.